Hey, what's happening, guys? Jeremy with Fishing Lonestar. Another Texas Weekly update from March 21st and March 27th. The 21st was a Sunday, the 27th, I believe, was a Saturday. I'm going to break down both of those days. We caught some great fish those days. We're going to talk about the spawn. We're going to talk about water temps. A lot to dive into. Let's go.
Oh. It's not a three. It's a monster of a fish. Good fish right there.
All right, guys, I'm pretty pumped about talking about this particular couple of days because the spawn is here. I was on Lake Fork, saw it for myself. It's happening, it's here. Let's talk about it a little bit. Before we do, two quick announcements. First of all, as you can see on my boat, Shields or their Instagram page, Texas Shields Outdoors, who sponsors these videos. Shout out to them. If you have not yet checked out Shields, there's one in Dallas and the Colony. It's an amazing store. It is literally the world's largest sporting goods store by square footage. It's amazing. Check it out or check them out online at shields.com. The second announcement to make really quickly, if you haven't seen the previous video, is we've decided, my wife and I, that any revenue that comes from this channel, because we are now monetized, any revenue that comes from this channel, we are donating 100% of it to Anglers for Adoption, which is a scholarship fund that my wife and I set up. 100% of those proceeds go directly to a family going through the adoption process to help them fund their adoption. I have two biological daughters, and about 5 years ago, we had adopted our son from China. He has brought so much joy into our lives and has blessed us in so many ways. However, adoption is extremely expensive, and so through this whole channel, Fishing the Lonestar, the Instagram page, etc., I always wanted to do something a little bit above and beyond just fishing content. I wanted to make it more than just that. So your support, thank you, because you've helped us grow this channel to the point of being monetized. But I'm going to ask you to continue to help us grow by sharing these videos. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you haven't, because that is also going to help us in terms of revenue and donating all that to Anglers for Adoption Scholarship Fund. If you also want to make a donation above and beyond that, you can go to anglersforadoption.org. I'll drop the link below and you can go donate there. All right, let's dive in and first talk about, I think I said March 21st. That was a Sunday. And what happened then versus March 27th, which is on Lake Fork. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix in some on the water action shots of those 2 days. You can go watch those full videos. The one from March 21st has already been posted. It was swim jigs, swim baits, and underspins. A whole video showing that. The next one that will come right after this video is on Lake Fork, and you can watch the footage there. I've already talked a lot, so I'm gonna cut to the chase. March 21st, we were on a private water lake, but it was 31 acres, so it was pretty big. We had a tough time covering all of it, and we fished from almost 8 to 5 that day. But the two things that worked, it was kind of interesting. Water temps, first of all, were in the low 60s, so anywhere between 59 to 62. And we caught both male and females. However, we did not see females on beds. The males were up shallow, the females were not there yet. So key is water temps 59 to 62. The females were not there yet. They were back out in between 5 to 15 feet of water, somewhere in there. They were all hugging trees and timber, and we mainly caught them on two things. The first one, we caught them in the morning on the swim jig. Sorry, dropped it. This is the, I believe it's the Pacemaker swim jig by V&M on an X Zone Swammer paddle tail. It was overcast in the morning, and we absolutely crushed them. We caught both male and females on the swim jig. A little bit later in the day, the sun came up, high skies, meaning that there was no clouds, high sun. Fish got a little bit deeper and started looking down. So I broke out the good old Mega Swammer. That's a 5.5 inch on a 6/0 EWG hook, and just slow rolled that on the bottom, really slow, and let fish eat it, and then smacked them. We caught probably 30 that day. If you have not yet checked out private water fishing and you're around the Dallas or just Texas in general, you should check them out. I'll link them below, privatewaterfishing.com. We were on Indian Cave in Santo, Texas. It was an amazing property, and we crushed fish that day and just had an absolute blast. All right, so that was March 21st, private water fishing, Lake Indian Cave in Santo. Fast forward to March 27th. All right, I told you the water temps on a 31-acre lake were between 59 and 62. Fast forward to March 27th. I don't know how many acres Lake Fork has, but it's pretty darn big. However, there's lots of different arms. All right, that day we were fishing spots from the Fish Life app. I will link them below as well, but if you've not ever checked out the Fish Life app, you should. There's a community page and a subscription package. We were using the Lake Fork subscription package to figure out exactly where fish were. We went to the north and west part of the lake. We tuned into the Fish Life spots and we caught some really good fish. Before we figured out that they were spawning, on the way to some of the creeks, we stopped at a bridge, kind of a bridge passing or pylons, the concrete, and we saw some cranes that were there feeding on bait fish and broke out the swammer on an underspin and caught one fish really quickly. I didn't even put the big motor, I didn't even turn the big motor on. We literally just trolled over there from the ramp and caught a pretty good fish. We then moved shallow later in the day. It's super muddy water, so we stuck with black and blue colors and caught them on a couple of things. One was a Texas rig. This is the Adrenaline Crawl X Zone lures, but you can see it's that black and blue color on a Texas rig. I caught a fish in about a foot of water. It was a smaller male, I believe. Could have been a small female, but I think it was a smaller male. And then I was fishing with Aaron. He's also known as ChefBadBass. I'll link his information below too. But I was fishing with him and he caught one up shallow on a black and blue jig. And I'll save all that footage because that video is coming right after this, but caught a great one. And then caught another one up shallow on a chatterbait that was also a great fish. And we're talking like in a foot of water. So 2 big females, a couple other smaller fish, a little bit of different variation, but black and blue and up shallow. What was interesting though is we got into 67-degree water temps later in the day in a creek arm off of Lake Fork. So I told you the smaller lake was 59 to 62 the week prior. March 27th, we found 67-degree water temps on Lake Fork. We could not see the fish on beds because it was super dirty, but we were able to still catch them just by being as accurate as we could with cast, pitching, flipping into shallow cover, and the fish were there. So pretty awesome. The takeaway I want you to get from this is the smaller bodies of water. I've learned through this time period this year, and as much cold as we've had up and down in Texas, the smaller bodies of water, you already know this, but it's helpful to revisit. The smaller bodies of water are going to heat up or cool down faster, all right? So think about if there's a cooling trend, the smaller body of water is going to cool down. If there's a warming trend, that smaller body of water is going to heat up. In fact, that 31-acre lake changed 3 degrees in water temp from the morning to the afternoon when the sun came out. Lake Fork is going to be much more stable because it's a bigger body of water. So whatever your trend has been the longest is what the water trend is going to do as well. But you'll notice I said the northwest side of the lake. We found that was what was best. And I also found warmer water a couple weeks back on Lake Athens on the northwest side as well. So depending upon where you're at and where you're watching this, if you're not quite yet to the spawn, those are a couple of tips to look for is maybe a bigger body of water, but break it down to a small segment in the northwest side. And I think that's where you're gonna find the fish spawning first. All right, right after this video, in the next day or two, we're going to post the Lake Fork video so you can see myself and Chef. I can tell you it's going to be one of the more entertaining videos that I've posted in a while. So if you're still watching this, make sure you watch that video because it's going to be awesome. Go back and watch the one from last week if you haven't yet of myself and my brother. We literally caught over 30 fish that day. I scaled it down to probably the biggest, maybe 10 or so, but that was a pretty fun video, some really cool shots in it. Check it out. If you've not yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button right here on Fishing Lonestar. Make sure you like and comment as well and do me a solid. And if nobody's told you today, God loves you, and so do I. Peace out.